Everybody's just signing in. We'll give them a minute to come on to the call. Welcome everybody to today's webinar. This is going to be a great call, and I'm excited to be here. For those of you that have webinar fatigue and Zoom meeting fatigue, set that aside because we've got amazing people. We have the lovely Brooke Sines, amazing leader. We have Tessier, who is just getting started in real estate, but he's doing 700-800 houses a year. We're going to get him to 1,000. And they're going to share with you how to actually lead with core values and creating a culture that people want to be a part of. So as everybody's coming on to the call today, I want to say welcome. Go into your chat box as you come onto the call, if you will, for me, and just say hello. Tell me where you're from, and just say hi real quick. So just say hello. We want to make sure you know how to use your chat. Val is here from Sugar Land, Texas. Love Sugar Land. Say hello where you're from. That way we can have a little bit of interaction. Heather's here from Massachusetts. Dominic's here, brand new to WSS. Rosie, welcome. Donna's here. Anna from Queens. Queens, are things opening up a little bit for you in Queens? Ash is here from New Jersey. Deb's here from, the whole team's here from Katy, Texas. Lee, if you and I had Southern access like the gals in Texas, it would be lights out, don't you think?
Exactly.
Brooke, are you starting to pick up a Southern accent?
I wish. I want a Southern accent too.
You got that Michigan accent going. You got to work on getting Southern because, dang, actually don't do it because it's just an unfair competitive advantage.
I'm trying. I just need to listen to tapes while I'm sleeping or something.
Yeah, and I hate to see you're not opened up yet. I'm glad you're staying. I hope you're staying safe. There's a lot of people in tough markets that haven't quite opened up yet. C21 team in Boston's here. Love that. Phil and the group is here. Florida's here. Ocean City, Maryland. Is that near you, Lee?
Yeah, that's where our beach place is. Yeah.
Cameron Dew and the Power of Two team from Ocean City. So I know you got people that serve out there. That's great. Okay, everybody, what a great group. I'm excited to be here. I want to just start by saying this is a Workman Success webinar, meaning that we can do whatever we want on it. It's not put on by a vendor or a partner. We can do whatever we want. And what we try and do each month is we try and add value to the people that are in our database. Some of you are clients, some of you are not yet clients, and trying to figure out how to take your businesses to the next level. And so what I wanted to do on this call was, instead of it having be a verbal webinar where I just tell you all the great things you could be doing in your business, I wanted to bring a couple of our clients that are coaching clients as well as coaches to share with you how important it is to have great core values and then build a culture on your team that allows you to create scale. I'm a big believer that if we do the right things and we treat our people like we would treat our clients, then our businesses have a tendency to grow. It was interesting, Brooke and Lee, I know you'll appreciate this. I was on a call with a gentleman out of California and his partner. They just joined Workman Success Systems. They do about 100 million in sales, and they want to grow to 200 million. And I gave them the assignment before we have our first coaching call to build a set of core values. And they showed up to the second call, and guess what? They didn't have it done. And I said, I want you to know you're normal. And so instead of doing the call, I took them through Ogmandino's 10 scrolls. And one by one, I talked about the habits and, we persist until we succeed. And this too shall pass. And I'm nature's greatest miracle. And I'll greet this day with love in my heart. And I will laugh at the world. I went through all of those scrolls. It was interesting as I went through them as they kind of lit up and they understood the importance of those core values as they bring them into their lives. And so let me just take a second and I'm going to share my screen with everybody. I want to welcome everybody to the call. Thank you for using your chat box. We've got Brooke Sines. Brooke Sines is out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. She also runs a team in North Carolina. She's been in real estate just a few years, quickly became a top agent in not only Rookie of the Year, but a top agent within RE/MAX of Michigan and one of the top teams. And then her husband got transferred to North Carolina. So she decided, hey, that's no problem. I've got this great culture and a great team. I'm going to keep them working in Michigan, and I'm going to start a new team in North Carolina. And now she's taken North Carolina by storm and already growing her team there. And she can tell us a little bit about that and how it's growing. We also have Lee Tessier with us. And Lee Tessier has one of the most successful teams in all of the country. He's built a great business with based on his core values. And I'm sure we'll show a picture of his core value wall. I think we have that in here. And it talks about that. Lee's fortunate to have his son working with him, Josh, on the team. Every time I meet with his team, I'm just blown away by the quality of people he attracts and by his ability to keep them not only engaged, but productive. You know, his average team member performs and does a lot of real estate, and we're constantly developing, working on them. So two great leaders with us today, Brooke and Lee. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad you're here. Let's have a little bit of fun. I'm going to share my screen. We actually have a slide deck that shows everybody. And there we go. Now, when I turn that on, I don't get to see you anymore, so I don't see your video. And so we're going to, before this is over, I want everybody to take a picture of this screenshot.
Oh, it's not showing.
Oh, it's not showing my screen?
No.
Okay, well, that's extra. Let me go back and share my screen. Now tell me if we're showing.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, now I got you. And so my screen's over here. So if it looks like I'm over here, even though you're here, it's because my screen is over here. So to get a copy of today's presentation, and also we're going to give you some tools and resources that will help you establish your own core values. Take a picture of this right now, and I just encourage you to go download that. And then one of the things is that you can see that you can sign up for a free strategy session with one of our business consultants that will help you with kind of go through that. So Bel Air, Maryland, one of the coolest places I've been. I actually had the opportunity to go and spend a couple days with Lee's team. I got to visit with him in his home. It's been fun to watch him achieve his goals and build his strategic plan. I want everybody to say a warm welcome to Lee Tessier. Lee, thanks for being with us today. And tell us, just give us a snapshot of your team makeup. How many people do you have? That kind of stuff. Give us an idea of who we're talking to.
So we have about 23 people altogether. 7 of them are assistants. We have, including myself, it's six listing agents and then 8 buyer agents. And then we have a couple runners, couriers, stuff of that sort as well.
So tell me a little bit about your what's happened during COVID for your team. How have you guys adapted, and what are some of the things you've done differently, and how you doing?
Virtual presentations is key. So I think that the better you get with technology, the better you get with Zoom, make everything online. So we took our listing book and made it a flip book. So it's all digital. We took our buyer presentation, made that digital. So that way when our agents are presenting on, they can present online all through Zoom, go through things. They're also using BombBomb as well quite often. So video is huge. People pay attention to that more than anything else. So even when we're doing comps and stuff of that sort for a listing presentation, a lot of time, like Josh will go in, screen record everything that he's doing, and then send that off to the seller saying, hey, here's the comps that I think that are most relevant for you. And then he'll circle stuff on the screen, mark it up, and then video to them, and maybe like a 15-minute video. And with BombBomb, you can see all the times that they've looked at it as well. So you know that the client's watching it and going through. So that's been huge. And the better you can get online, the less travel you have to do, the safer you are. And time, one commodity we never get more of is time. You can get more money, you can't get more time. So the more efficient you get, the more money you can make per hour as well.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of things that don't go away after COVID's done, like the whole efficiencies that have been created by virtual. Are you finding, and so have you been able to transact?
Oh yeah, we're at 160 close and then about 90 pending right now between the 2 months. So we're on track to have a better year than last year. We closed 476 last year. We're on pace to hit mid 5s. We were hoping to hit 600. We got a little bit of a slowdown, but it's again looking for key players too for the team. So people that want to work and be efficient.
It's kind of cool when you look at what we've just gone through with this COVID-19, and many of the people that are on this call are in the middle of it still. I've seen a big increase this morning in number of cases in Arizona and other places like that. We just have to be, careful and keep people safe. And, people move anyway, right? It's not like they're not going to move. People are having life events that occur that cause them to move. And we have to be able to provide a safe environment for them to be able to transact. So Lee, tell us a little bit about the importance of core values on your team. And I want to know, it's one thing to talk about core values. It's another thing to actually, really ingrain them into your people. First, tell me how you came up with your core values, and then let's talk about how you use them in your business.
So I had core values as I grew the team, but then we went in and tweaked them. as a team together. We took kind of like what you had shown that you're giving out as, like here's some thought starters. And we talked about like, who are we as a team? And not just who I think I am. I know my number one thing, I was raised with, my dad just always beating in my head about, you never want to be a liar or a thief. So integrity was always number one for me. So that was one of my biggest things. And then we have to love doing what we do no matter what. This business will wear you down, chew you up, spit you out if you don't love doing what you're doing. You have to be a firefighter, constantly solving problems. And then doing the right thing. So we sat as a group collectively, went through and said, who are we and what do we stand for? So we went through, and this is a 14-foot wall in my office. As soon as you come in the door, right across from our bathroom. So as we're walking, as people come into the office, they see it. As we have new hires, we want to make sure, hey, this is number one. This is who we are. Do you align with this, first of all? And then you were talking about the Southern accent. So I think of Christy Bucka saying, hey, sometimes we need to tighten up of, who's not meeting expectations. So you have to hire and fire by core values. And firing is never easy as it is, but when you're going through for the reasons that you're firing and use core values, it's significantly easier to make sure you're finding the right person on the team.
I love that. Do you mind just picking a couple of core values and talk to me about it? Like what does it mean to create dreams? What does that mean to you?
So, think of with your clients, the clients are looking for their house where they're going to raise their family and, have kids and so forth, or just, a lot of time it's kids, but not always. So you're helping them achieve their dreams of where they're going to live and live for, multiple years. Sometimes it's a short, stay, 2 or 3 years, but most cases they're 10 years or more that they're staying in the house. I've helped a couple people recently sell that they were in their home for 40 years. We just sold my mom's house. She was there for 40 years. And I'm like, you think about the emotional attachment as it is. And we're in such an emotional business. But it always comes back to who are we? This is part of my listing presentation. This is part of my buyer presentation. This is who we are. If you see that we're not aligning somewhere, please call us out on it.
I love that. So
exceeding expectations is huge for me because I think you have to set expectations for clients. Yep. And then you always have to beat them. You always have to at least expect this. These are the things that are going to happen, but do the little things that go a long way. A little extra that pays off so significantly, and you end up with more referrals from doing the right thing for clients.
All right. So what about something like humble and empathetic? Now when we talk about these core values, are they client centric or are they team member centric?
They're well, it's both. So we hope to attract the clients that are the same way. Having an ego in this business, I just don't think it gets you anywhere. I think being nice, and it goes such a long way. I answer my phone nonstop still. So I have clients, other agents in our market that I'll call, and there's a co-agent on there, but they'll still call me. And then they always say to me, like, I'm surprised you answer your phone. Like, this is a business that we're all in together. So the more that if I'm nice to you, you're going to be nice to me. We all got to get through the deal, and we're going to do transactions together long term. So make sure, it doesn't cost any more to be nice. So be nice.
It doesn't cost any more to be nice. So we came up with these core values. You guys will love this one. We came up with these core values on this last call, and it was the 4 backs. And we have our families back, we have our clients back, we have our teams back, and we have the communities back. And that's the first time I've seen that in kind of that format. Like we got your back. The core value is the 4 backs, and we build from the back to create strength for our team. And I thought that was kind of fun. And this is very similar in the way that you think about your people on your team. And so how do we get the agents to buy into the core values? What are some of the things that you do or have done to get agents to buy in?
So we started a foundation in 2015. We've raised money for kids, given back in our community. So the more we all collectively as a group do that, and then we vote on the scholarship. So it could be somebody applying for money that's going into Boy Scouts, and they have a trip that's coming up or something on those lines, or it could be going to college. So the more that we can give back, and we're looking for the kids that fall through the cracks. We're looking for parents who are living paycheck to paycheck type, not so much the ones that get a ton of money from assistance or they have big incomes. So, we're always looking for guidance counselors, people from coaches, 4-H club. It could be, this was a tacky hammer that Julie from my team, she was nominated as for a woman's build. So everybody participated, and it was just a good time. So I think that we all give back together. You just end up meshing. So, there's a greater good for all of us, and giving back is such a long way to, or such a great way to do it. To give is to get. You get, but you're not giving to get. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm always been a giver, and I'm always trying to solve a problem, and sometimes to my fault for doing that. But I think at the same time that if you're always giving and helping in the community, it goes such a long way, and you get so much out of it. You get fulfillment. It's not that you're trying to get money or doing it for anything or those reasons. It's the fulfillment of helping others.
Yeah, I think that that attitude is not something you can't fake it. You get by giving. It goes to our theme of the year is serve regardless of opportunity. It doesn't matter what you get back or if you're going to get something back. I think that really does share who you are with everybody that's here. So talk to me about some of the things you do to create your team unity. When you have very low turnover on your team, and it's usually when you bring new people in and they realize that your people actually work hard, you'll get a little bit of a turnover, but the ones that stay, they stay a long time. Tell me a little bit about the culture.
It's just having fun together. So this was axe throwing. We had done go-kart racing and axe throwing that day. So, just as a team, we go out and do things together. We'll get crabs or do a happy hour or something just collectively as a group, no agenda. Let's just go have a good time. And then it's competitiveness. So Paul in the middle and Tim were the two ones that won certificates that day on axe throwing. So it's just, the competitive spirit of who's going to win. So,
hey, Brooke, have you ever done axe throwing with your team?
We tried, but it was closed, but we would love that.
Yeah, I had that on the list for coach training one year, and my team shut it down. They were like, no one wants to throw axes. To me, it looked like a blast.
It was a great time.
Fun?
Yeah, it was so we've done it twice now. Is it such a good time the first time? Actually, this was a separate one. It was right next to a brewery, and then they served alcohol, so you can get alcohol and throw axes, which makes it even better. So
that scares me a little bit to be in a room with a bunch of drunk people throwing axes.
And then this was Autobahn, so it was an indoor go-kart racing that they would do, I think 45 miles an hour or so, upwards of 45. So that was fun. It was just everybody racing, and then the top three, the one were the ones, Paul was in there again. Such a competitive person. So just doing fun stuff together just goes a long way. And it's basically one big family, and we're all protective of each other. So my office manager has been with us been with me for 11 years. And so she's like, I'm very protective of our family. And I said, yeah, when we let somebody else in new, we just need to make sure that they mesh well with everybody. And core values is such a big thing. If they don't have the same core values, there's a problem. And then they also want to work hard and play hard.
So Lee, this is from one of our guests, a guy by the name of Mike Koch wants to know, how do you guys do team building and keep your team unity during COVID?
So more of it's been Zoom calls lately than anything. And then they were doing virtual happy hours. So a lot of the time they were doing that on their own. A bunch of them would get it together and like Friday evening, hey, let's, what do we do as a group? Some of them are still getting together and just having small, like 8 to 10 people together. So when you start creating it, it starts happening on its own, and you don't have to be the one that's always implementing it either. So you'll see that culture within your team, and that goes, that's significant.
I just had a proud parent moment where it's like you teach your kids to do things, and then when you're away, they start doing some things on their own, and you're like, yeah, that's what I was trying to create.
Right.
I wanted that energy. I love that. That's got to be a cool thing for you as a leader to be able to see that. What are some of the other things that you've done just from a community standpoint, team building, culture, core value perspective? And there's lots of questions. So Those of you that have questions for Lee, I'm going to ask you to hang on for a minute. Type your questions in. I'm going to get to all of them, and then I'll do my best as we have breaks throughout the presentation to be able to talk to you about and answer those questions. And I know Brooke and Lee are just givers. They'll give you answers to anything you can throw at them. Ask them anything. That's my challenge.
So the picture here is from one of our Thanksgiving pie events. So last year was our biggest one. We had a little over 1,000 people at it. So we do Thanksgiving pies. We just tell them, let us know if they want an apple or pumpkin pie. We used to do it at our office. So it's like everything starts small. So think of, how you can do it and how do you grow it? How do you make it better every year? So it started as a small event at our office, and then we kept growing. We started at one restaurant. We actually were at the last one for 3 years, and then we outgrew that. And then we went into a bigger place because, 1,000 people, that's a ton of people through at any given time.
Wow.
We went through a little over 525 pies. So, they come get a pie. They, have, it's usually date night for so many of them. So year after year, we see the same families and we invite them back every year. It's like, hey, you're welcome to come, because they end up referring us more and more business as well. So the cost of, it's about a $25,000 event by the time we're done, but we get most of that's offset through our vendors as well. For RESPA compliancy, we can do that. We can have an event that's paid for really completely. So just make sure you're using those same trusted vendors. And if you're sending them enough business, they always our vendors can't wait to participate because they know it's such a good time. First of all, they get to see all the past clients that they've dealt with and see them year over year, and then families growing and so forth. So referral business is fantastic.
So Lee, have you come up with some client facing events for 2020 that are different as a result of COVID? Are you doing some things differently?
I'm hoping that the restrictions and everything will lighten up a little bit for, because we were talking about Thanksgiving pie events. Like, all right, are we going to have to have it that no more than a certain amount of people can be? Is it only going to be 100 at a time? Is it going to be 75 at a time? And then we have to get them to come per hour because we're there from 4 o'clock till about 10:30 p.m. So is it going to be like, hey, the first few letters of the alphabet are 4 o'clock, the next ones are 4:30, the next ones are 5? How are we going to have to do that? So I'm just hoping that it releases and gets a little bit back to more to normal, because the face-to-face interaction, you end up with so many referrals through that process, and people look forward to it year after year.
Yeah, my heart goes out to like all the movie theaters and the places that we hold all these events that you can't do right now. Like, I know they're all hurting. Even Starbucks now say they're closing a bunch of stores. There's a lot of people that aren't going to come back from this, and it breaks my heart to see it.
But a lot of people say, like I've seen somebody said, how'd you grow your team so big? It usually starts by necessity. So when I started, it was just me and my assistant. And then I started hiring all the wrong people in the beginning. I didn't have core values. I wasn't doing DISC profiles. I wasn't doing a deeper personality profile and making sure I was getting the right people. First of all, it was like, hey, they showed up, they look good, they sounded good, let's hire them. And then they'd show up for work and be like, oh my God, this is totally the wrong person. So starting with a DISC profile, and then make sure you have enough business to hand off. As your business grows naturally, you're going to end up having more business than you can take on yourself. So you got to hand it off. And then, how do you hand it off? Because I get that as well. It's like, so last year out of 476, I sold 26. So sometimes I'm having to take people with me, or I have the phone call with the person and then say, hey, Reed or Tim or Joe or Josh are going to be coming to the listing appointment, not me. If you need me, I'm available. I'll oversee everything. We have meetings weekly. So I have transaction meeting, knowing where things are. We have listing meetings. I'm involved in the whole process, but I'm not the one that's going to be there. So you start gradually growing. It's like, how do you eat that elephant? And it's one bite at a time. So just take your time. It'll come. Don't go hire 10 people if you don't have the lead sources and the business for it. So grow naturally.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So this is a Burl question, and that is that I want to know what kind of impact coaching has had on your business as a client, but also as being a workman success coach.
So as a coach, it made me think totally different. I was doing about 66 million in 2014, January of 15, I started as a business coach. I've had a coach since 2007. So I've had a business coach pretty much after my first year in the business. I hired a coach, and I would say there's not maybe a 6-month period out of the last 13 years that I did than I did not have a coach. I think it's, it's taking the learning curve out of things. How do you get to that next step? How do you know what not to do so it doesn't cost you a lot of money? So I think the business coach is there to be a sounding board. So like with me coaching with you is I'll run an idea, or you're going to say, give me a different idea that I'll take and then tweak it. So how do you make things better? I mean, none of us have that ingenious of an idea. It's usually like, hey, we're just taking it, and then how do you make it better? How do you make it better? How do you make it better? And just, it's a sounding board is what a coach is, and taking the learning curve out.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And it's fun to see that growth. And, so as part of coaching, you have DISC assessments. That's all part of the program, a lot of the systems, the tools that you use. Somebody asked the question, how do you introduce DISC assessments to the team that have been with you for a while? And what was the reason you asked them to do it? We've done it a few times.
Yeah. So we as I've gone through, I've hired people to help hire and stuff like that. That unfortunately didn't work that well. But I think just, using the DISC assessment, having a good understanding of how people think, what their natural abilities are. So for us, we have listing agents and we have buyer agents, and it's two different personality profiles. So make sure if you get the right people on the bus, so if you have that high I and you put them on the list side, you're going to be totally messed up because they're going to want to talk all the time, where you need somebody that's more analytical thinking and is not going to give in really easily on price. So you need somebody that's like either CD or CS on the listing side. So knowing these personality profiles, and the more in depth you get with them, the better you're going to get the people. You're going to get the people in the right seat on the bus on your team, and you're going to have them get fulfillment out of it because they're going to thoroughly enjoy what they're doing. Versus if you put a buyer agent in a listing agent role, or a listing agent versus a buyer agent role, usually you get chaos or you get lack of conversion. So, everybody's making less money, everybody's more frustrated. So just make sure you're getting the right personality profiles. And you have a lot of that all through Workman. I mean, the evolution for the last 5 years with Workman's night and day. I think that you were very good in the beginning, but now we have the wisdom of the crowd, and everybody's gotten so much better. So
absolutely true. By the way, that question is from Jeff, the one that developed the BAC's core values, that we got your back. So I thought was just amazing today as we went through that. And the other thing, Jeff, is that, when I think about and Brooke, you can pipe in on this as well, but the DISC and the motivators profiles, when we do them with a team, I believe that the greatest way that you show someone you care about them is you get to understand who they are and communicate in a way that is consistent with their personality type. So if you walk around my office, everybody has these two little jars of sand, which is their primary and their adaptive DISC profile. So I can walk into somebody's office and I can see that they're a red and a green, which I know I've got a DI. So be direct and do it with enthusiasm. When I walk into my CFO's office, he's got that super high yellow and blue, which is, care about others and attention to detail. He's going to want to know the details. So every once in a while, I have to remind him, you got to talk to me like a D, not a C. And so we talk to each other, and we use that because it helps us to be able to communicate more effectively. And that's how you really show someone that you care about them, is you're willing to adapt to make the conversation feel right to them.
The other thing, it helps within your team of how they should communicate with each other from that, because it gives them that information in the DISC profile of how they want to be communicated with and what's the most effective for training purposes and so forth. So if everybody has that, like we had printed out those pages and they put it on in front of their desk area, so others could come up and read that, kind of like what you said. And the more you become a chameleon and adapt to the person that you're talking to, the better off you're going to be. No different than a listing presentation or buyer presentation. The better you know your audience, the more you can communicate so much more effectively.
Yeah, I agree. And so speaking of high Ds, let me introduce Brooke.
Not a high D. 98 on the DISC scale for an I.
I'm just messing with you. Actually, whether you score high D or not, this is one of the most driven people I've ever met. And Lee, thank you. And are you okay staying with us, Lee? Because I know there's lots of questions, and I want to make sure that I get to them. This is really good information. And I think it's important that we stay and ask questions because they're going to share with you. So let me just introduce Brooke. I called her a high D, and I mean that just as a loving, caring. I know that when she puts her mind to something, Brooke does not like to lose. She's a competitor. She likes to win. I'm not just talking about business. I'm talking about in her community, the way she gives back, the way she raises and teaches her children. She's one of the great fun people we have at Workman Success System. She's a phenomenal coach. I have never had the opportunity to coach her personally. She coaches with one of my coaches, Sarah Goldie. And it's been fun to watch their interaction, and their friendship has grown as they've continued to mold and change businesses. Brooke, thank you for being here, and just give us a snapshot. Tell us a little bit about your businesses.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here. So first of all, I got licensed in January of 2015. And as Lee said, I pretty much jumped into coaching at my 1-year anniversary of being in the business and have not looked back since. I mean, it's definitely a blessing. So I've been with Sarah, coaching with her with Workman for a little over 4 years now, which has just done wonders for my business. And as you mentioned at the beginning of the call, I'm originally born and raised in the West Michigan area. And so started my team there, and we have 3 agents, including myself there, and then started the Remax team, or started the Charlotte, North Carolina team. And so we have 4 agents, possibly 5. You'd be proud, Verl. We had a recruiting meeting this morning with my team.
Good.
And then we have 4 admins, and they help us with anything and everything we need and run the show behind the scenes.
So I love that. So Brooke, tell me a little bit about whether you're in Michigan or North Carolina. I want to hear a little bit about your core values and why they're important to you.
Yeah, so prior to getting into Workman, I mean, I have always been, and it's kind of like Lee said too, that his dad ingrained certain things in him, and my dad did too. I mean, I would come home with a 4.0, and he's like, why is it not a 4.2? And making me run suicides in the driveway after basketball games because we lost, or different things. So it's always pushing me, and so that's been ingrained in me, is to always push myself. And at the center of that, though, is having good morals and ethics and having the core values that are really exactly that, at your core of what you want to do and how you want to do it and who you are as a person, and as we're talking about today, as a team. And so similar to what Lee said, we developed core values as a team, and we sat around and developed them together. It was earlier on in Workman, so we didn't have all the great tools that you have now, Verl, to be able to really spell out how to get into what core values are and how to decipher what they should be for your team. And I think, I mean, that information that we have now to offer to our coaching clients is phenomenal and a huge help to that. So we hire by our core values, we fire by them. I mean, they are who we are at our core.
Yeah, I love that, and it really is. It really does reflect that in the business culture that you have. I don't know what is this a video that's going to play, Brooke?
Yeah, and you may not want to play it all, but it gives a quick idea as to just sharing what we share with our clients, and really talk about our core values, so they're not just a secret.
Let's see.
As the team leader for Grand Allure Home Group, I think about who we are and what we do for our friends, family, and for our clients. We have a large team of individuals who represent a range of various personalities and desire a culture to be proud of. We have developed our core values on which our team lives by each and every day. They have a lot more to do with who we are than what we do. They are our foundation. Our core values are legacy. We are building a legacy in West Michigan.
Outstanding. We offer outstanding service.
Value. Everyone we come in contact with, we value.
Enthusiastic. We take great pride and are enthusiastic about what we do.
Work hard, play hard. That speaks for itself.
Ethical. We commit to be ethical in everything we do.
Success. We take pleasure in our clients' success.
Timely. We offer the utmost in timely communication.
Motivated. We are motivated to determine your need and provide you the best service.
Integrity. We live our lives with integrity, and we mirror that in our business.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I thought it was a great video. I couldn't stop it. And it got really clear what your core values are. So tell me about how you, I was going to ask you, how do you get your team involved in the core values? Make them go on video.
That's right. And they love that. I mean, you know how many people love video. We're trying to embrace it. So with the core values, it was great because everyone weighed in on the decision of what we wanted to be as a team. And then in taking the team from West Michigan and adding the North Carolina team as well, we really tried to keep them as similar as they could because it's still who we are as a core, just our geographical location has moved a little bit or has changed or has added, we've expanded. And so we kept a lot of them the same. Those are kind of a couple different images of being in Charlotte and then also the West Michigan area. And just keeping the legacy and outstanding and valued and doing it on an acronym because I found it's easier. I mean, we start off our team meetings and we don't chant them like Tammy Slade does. She's awesome. But we go through and we discuss them. So they're not a secret. They're something that we are always talking about.
Yeah, I think, so you talk about it. So when do you talk about your core values? So you start each meeting, do you go through all of your core values? Kind of give me the rhythm of how you incorporate them into your culture.
Absolutely. So over the course of last year, we divided up the core values and focused on them monthly. So if you were to go to our business Facebook page, we talked about, and it was a video, it was through posting with definitions and being very intentional about letting clients know and everyone watching know what our core values were. So we took legacy, for example, and it was funny because it's one of those things, you say this, Verl, what you focus on, you become. And so it's interesting, as we say, as a team, we're going to focus on legacy this month. And so we start looking at what does legacy mean to us? And we look at one of our team members' car, Sharon, she actually drives a Subaru Legacy. And so that was really neat. So we did a little post about that. And we went through each of those and just focused on them on a monthly basis. We divided them up so each team member had an equal part in sharing what legacy means to them, what outstanding means, what valued means. And as you've taught me from the very beginning, and what we focus on teaching our workman clients is you need to have that work-life balance. And that's extremely important in what we're doing. So when we talk about legacy, it's not just as a team, but it's our families and our livelihoods as well. And same with, along the rest of the core values there.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that what you focus on becomes your reality. It's so true. Talk to me about leading by example. I mean, how important is it for you as a leader to not just tell your agents what the core values are and hope they do it?
Yeah, and I think it's just like we set up expectations with our buyers and sellers, but if we lead by example, if I lead by example as a team leader and I'm constantly bringing up our core values and we're talking about them and we do lead and offer outstanding service and we show our clients that they are valued and we're enthusiastic about what we do and we're ethical and also going by the work hard, play hard. We put that core value in there and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes, but just really incorporating it and setting up the expectations and I think reminding the team over and over again that this is who we are and the team loves it. I mean, we now focus on a core value when we have the two teams and we do our team meetings together on Monday mornings. We dive into one of the core values for each team together. And so that even helps to grow our team culture, although we're 800 miles apart.
How fun will it be to get all the teams together at Leverage and have them meet and hang out?
Oh, we're already all signed up for Leverage, and they all have team retreats planned even before Leverage. So we're trying to figure that out. But everyone gets along and just loves each other.
All right, so I love the slide inspect what you expect, but I want to know how you incorporate core values into accountability and what that means, and share with me a little bit about that in your team.
Yeah, again, I think it's talking about it, and it's talking about, when we meet as a team, I'm involved in a lot as a team leader and kind of as a control freak. I like to know what's going on with our transactions throughout both teams. And so when I talk to Sharon or I talk to Andrea and we're talking about what's going on in a certain transaction, I bring it back to the team so we can show that this is how we handled this transaction, and we can really follow up on that and relate it to a core value. So even something as little, I was talking to one of my team members earlier today about, when a client asks and says we really think we need 5,000 off the sales price for this, we don't start at 5,000. We start at 7,500 because I'd much rather come back and say, "Hey, guess what? I know you wanted 5,000, but we got you 7,500." Or we come back at 5,000 because the agent said, "Well, we'll meet you in the middle," or how about 5,000? And then we got our client what they wanted. And so that's part of just inspecting what you expect and offering that, going above and beyond for your clients.
Very, very cool. Now, this is like a mystery slide to me, so I'm gonna see what it says.
It's another video. We're trying to embrace the whole video.
Here's the story of a lovely lady who was bringing up three very lovely girls. All of them had hair of gold, like their mother. The youngest wanted curls. It's the story of Annie Brady, who was busy with three boys of his own. They were born and sitting all together, yet they were all alone. Till one day when the lady met this cat.
So really what I threw that in there for, Verl, is just to show that it's important that we have fun. I mean, this was after weeks of coronavirus, being on Zoom calls together, and we were like, man, we just feel like we're the Brady Bunch. Like we're always on these calls, and so we thought to put it together and just have some fun with it too.
I know Lee's getting ready to make that same video of his team. Lee, what
I'm
was you
sure.
thinking while that was going on?
Of our 16 kids, right?
I thought that was a lot of fun. So how do you, this is really interesting. I shared this morning with a couple of people, but I love this, Brooke, getting to know your team. Tell me about that. Tell me about how important it is that you really get to know everybody. What do you want to know about them?
So I dive in and we really, we talk to our team and we care about each other as we're family. I mean, we're a team, we're a family team. And so we do different events together quarterly that we invite. I mean, we'll do our quarterly team events too, but then we'll do quarterly family events. So it's bring your spouse, bring your significant other, bring your kids, and we try to get together and do, a day at the orchard or a day at the lake, and just really get to know one another. So we know their favorites. And this starts off, I mean, before day one of you starting on my team, I have you go through, and this is after all the disc assessments, all the interviews, calling references, looking at resumes, talking with Coach Sarah to, kind of be that last set of eyes to hire. And then we have you complete this getting to know you form. And we learned so much about this person. So what's your favorite store, your favorite color, your favorite food, your movies, what are your kids' birthdays? And we set this all up so that we can send birthday cards to the kids. We can send birthday cards to them and their spouse. The day they start, they get a basket of their favorite things. And it includes maybe a gift card to their favorite store. It includes things with the colors that they like and some of the favorites they told us. And it just starts things off. I mean, I love buying gifts for people and sending cards and everything else. So this just helps them feel welcome on that first day.
I love it. Man, I have 3 new people starting today. And it's funny because I got this on my desk this morning when I walked in. This is sitting on my desk. I don't know if you can see that, but it's interview questions for Verl. They want to interview me. and they want to know what my story is, what's the story of Workman Success, what services we offer, what's our mission statement, how did you come up with your core values, and why did you choose them? What's your coaching philosophy? What do you say when someone says, why do you need a coach? What's your vision for future growth? Kind of interesting. No one's ever done that. So this group of three that started, they have their questions for me, and I gave it back to Shiloh, and I said, Shiloh, I need the same answers by them. I want to know all the stuff on Brooke's list. I want to know who you are, what your favorite color are, so we can have a fun conversation. It's so important. I think that we take for granted that people know who we are, and we really don't. We really don't know who your team members are. They come in, they're nervous, and they don't know everything about everybody. And now you can share those things. I think it creates a great common bond. I love that. I love that you do that. Lots of comment. This is Cheryl and James from the Veldkamps team saying hello, Brooke.
Hi, Sherlyn.
All right, so now let's get into creating your great team culture. Culture is everything, and I like to say that your culture, everybody has one. It's either accidentally created or it's intentionally created. Is yours accidental or intentional?
Oh, it's extremely intentional.
Right,
And
she's not a D. I want you to know she's not a D.
yeah, but it's intentional with hugs. I don't know now with coronavirus, but we'll. So we do, I mean, some of these things on this list, and I'll just go through them fast for time purposes, but I mean, we do a monthly casual lunch where we just go out together as friends, going out to lunch and having it. I mean, of course, some of the conversations lead back to work, but we try to just have fun. What are you doing this weekend? You know, what are your big plans? If we can do it on a Friday afternoon, just go out and have a casual lunch together. Doing that getting to know my team form with that first day welcome basket, and then as I said, sending them cards, sending their kids cards and little birthday gifts and such. Doing quarterly team retreats, and that's part of the inspecting what we expect. I mean, we set goals as a team, just like we set our core values, and then we want to ensure that we're keeping up on and being aware of where we are within that goal setting. So we typically do a 9 to 12 time frame of working on team building activities, goal setting, etc. And then 12 noon, we go have lunch, and then we do something fun. So axe throwing is on our list of things to do, Lee. But we've done bowling, we've done mini golf, we've done all sorts of fun things. Of course, also reading Og, that's your favorite, Verl, and we read that every morning when we do our daily huddle. We're going through the scrolls together as a team. So right now we're on scroll 5. I will live this day as if it is my last.
Love
and
it.
Each team member, we take turns, each team member running the huddle. And so they pick a paragraph out of that scroll to read and just say what it means to them for that day, what it's speaking to them.
I don't mean to move forward. I want to make sure we get to questions. So talk to me a little about, so I love that you taking your core values for a business and you said, okay, what's our family values? Are they different?
A lot of them are similar. They say similar things. And as I said, I'm so blessed to be a part of the Workman family where we talk about work-life balance. And yes, I have huge goals in real estate, but I have huge goals for my kids and my husband, for us as a family too. And so this was when we first moved into our new house in North Carolina, I said, we're going to have a family core values wall. And so that's what this is.
And so stay honest, instill kindness, never give up, enjoy life. I love the show patience. That would be for me. Faithful, always respectful, meaningful presence. What does that mean?
It means put your phone down. When you're present, you need to be present and make it meaningful. And I'm not perfect at that. I'm the first to admit, but it's on my wall and I'm always aiming to get better. So progress.
And so tell me about your daughter in training, in real estate training.
Yeah, so she's ready for you to coach her, Verl. She's ready to be in real estate. She's asking me, she comes in here, especially now when they're on summer break and they were doing school virtually. She's like, Mom, do you have any real estate books I can start reading? And I'm like, here, read this one. So I've got her reading the scrolls. And that's a great thing. I mean, just to live life and follow those scrolls. I mean, if I don't teach her anything else but the scrolls, I've done my job.
Oh my gosh, we've got a 7-hour drive for vacation next week. And of course, I have the Scrolls on audiobook. And my kids are like, please don't make us listen to that again.
Uh-huh. I tried that too. They like to read it instead.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Well, it's really clear that your culture and the core values that you're using in your business are transferring into your family and is making an impact. I'm going to ask both of you this question. I'll start with Brooke. So what's next for you? What's your next big goal? What are you looking to accomplish in your business?
Oh boy, I have a lot. I want to, I mean, ideally, I want to get we have just grown. I mean, honestly, coronavirus, I don't want to say by any means it's been a blessing, but we have taken that, and as Lee said, we made things so we can do them virtually. And I initially intended to have the North Carolina and Michigan team almost be kind of separate entities because I didn't want them having to worry about things that didn't apply to one another. But coronavirus has it kind of put me in place to intertwine the teams, and I would say that that's the best thing that has come out of this is having them get to know one another and build those relationships as well. So they do want to meet each other at Leverage and are excited for that. And so my goal is just to continue to ramp up both of the teams and hit that. I mean, of course, I've got transaction numbers that I want to hit and volume numbers, but I'm blessed to have two amazing teams with, right now it's all women on my two teams. So I'll say with powerhouse women on them.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I was waiting for the men in the Brady Bunch video, and they never appeared.
I know they didn't make it.
So talk to me about Lee. What are your goals? What's next? And I've got another question for both of you from one of our clients.
So next for me is us getting to 1,000 units in Maryland. And then I just passed my Florida broker's license yesterday. Thank God that's over. So I'm going to start under EXP in Florida and grow a team in Marco Island, Naples area. So that'll be the next thing, and continue to grow my investment portfolio of rental properties.
I love that there's a lot going on in both of your businesses, that you've got goals to expand. David asked this question. He said, how do you determine how big to grow your team, and how do you grow effectively when you don't like to manage people? Oh, I hear that all the time, by the way. I had a coaching consult yesterday. The guy's like, I'm so busy, but I don't want to manage people or babysit. Either one of you can take this, and I'd like to hear from both of you, actually.
I think it's
Go ahead, Lee.
getting the right people, first of all. So when you're going through and you're going through disc profiles and stuff, look for wins in their past. So that's a big one, is like, what did they achieve at a high level? Make sure you're not getting victim language that people are, oh, it was my manager's fault, or this one did that, or whatever. So make sure you're listening for those things when you're hiring people, so you get the right people on the bus, because they're going to self-manage to a point, but you're also going to spend time one-on-one with your people. Usually like our sales manager would meet one-on-one and like 30 minutes once a week, going through where are you at on your goals, making sure they have business plans in place. And if you have business plans in place, then holding them accountable to their numbers, using coaching, like have them put all their numbers in Workbench. So that way you're not having to go do it. Yeah, it's inspecting what you expect, but they should be able to self-manage as well. Like we do our daily success habits. I always have it. We've made them in spiral books so to keep them with them. So they need to keep track of what they're doing. And if you get the right people, they will do that. Like you're going to get, do they do it perfect? Never. Like hardly ever does that happen. But we're human beings. We know that if they get, 80% of it, fantastic. It always comes back to that 80-20 rule. If we can get, it's really 20% of our activities get us 80% of our production. But tracking what we do, and it's just getting the right people. They had also mentioned about virtual assistants. As you're growing, plug in virtual assistants until it becomes full-time, and then you got to get somebody in the office full-time. We didn't start with 7 assistants. I started with 1, and then we kept going and growing. And as we grew, we needed to plug in people. And, like a marketing position became marketing and photography. We had 2 different people. That started as 1 position. Transactions, we have 1 transaction manager that oversees about 400 deals on her own. And then myself and my son both have our own assistants that manage our deals. But 1 person can manage a lot as long as you're getting the right people in place. So it always comes back to really scrutinize and hire very slow, fire fast, but hire very slow. Make sure you go really in depth. When you bring somebody on, we would do happy hours and bring the spouse, whoever their spouse was, let them come meet the whole team. That way, because in the very beginning, you're still in that dating stage, is like, are they the right person or not? And then when they're home venting to their spouse and saying, oh, this person's bad or whatever, like, no, I met them and they seem like they're so nice when I met them at the happy hour. So at least then you have somebody else on your side as well. And you get to see, are you dealing with crazy or not? What's the spouse? So most cases it's not, but, dig a little and see what happens.
I love that. I wish you could you really can't ask that question in the interview process.
Right.
But you can experience at the happy hour. You can find out if you're dealing crazy. So what do you say to the person that doesn't want to manage people, but they want to grow?
They're going to self-manage to a point, but if you have to get the right people on the bus and you're going to have accountability, it's more accountability than anything. You shouldn't have to manage them. Self-accountability, accountability period, meeting some one-on-ones. But if you're helping them get what they want, you'll get what you want.
So Brooke, how do you determine how big of a team you want? I mean, and has it changed? Did it start out as one thing and is it different today?
Honestly, I mean, before I just got in real estate to sell houses, so I didn't even know I wanted or needed a team. And then as I was blessed to be running around like a chicken with my head cut off and having a lot of business, and amazingly found workmen and learned how to start a team correctly. And then from there, it grows because as you're keeping in touch with your past clients and you've got your top 50 and you're growing your business and getting those referrals and you're working a high volume lead generation platform, or you just kind of go step by step in the process and you hire because you need more, you have too many leads for how many agents you have. And so at that point, that's when, and it's like Jim always says, you always have to be looking to hire.
So when I think about that question, what comes to my mind is nobody goes out with the intent of building a 20-person team. They always go on the intent of building a better business that serves them. And they learn that is more opportunity, and so they let the lead count and the amount of business coming in determine whether or not they hire. It's not how big a team do you want, it's what kind of life do you want, and then you build the team to support that lifestyle. To me, that makes more sense than saying the size of the team doesn't really matter. If you have the right culture set up, you've got the right lead generation tools, you're teaching them how to be successful. Lee, when I look back at Lee's strategic plan, and I was reviewing it the other day, Lee, I do this often. I just go back into my clients and I'm just kind of reflecting and I'm asking myself, are we doing things that serving the client right? And one of the things that Lee said is, I want to have 1,000 units, but I want fewer people doing it. I want to have fewer people that are more successful and better at the business doing 1,000 units. I don't want 50 agents doing 1,000. I want 20. So it's not about number of people. It's about quality and lifestyle. So good question. Let me see if I have any more questions. I think we need to wrap. I have a great job, you guys. Thanks for sharing so much. Love hearing about your teams.
Thanks, Mike. Hey, Verl, one more thing I was going to say is in the Workman Success Business Plan, you have the SWOT analysis, and in there you go through and you partner you look at your weaknesses, and if you are not a great leader, that's something, hire someone that is. And that's something that you could have a team as, built out of co-creation. And I talk to my team all the time, like we all agreed to get in business together. We're kind of partners in a way. And so we're all holding each other accountable for each other's success and to achieve our goals.
Yeah, I love this. I really appreciate you sharing your thoughts and ideas and culture with everybody out there. You're both incredible people. It's just a pleasure to have you part of the Workman family. I hope that everybody got great information from today. Make sure you go to the site, download the free giveaways. And if you don't have a coach, maybe it's time that you really engaged. I think it's interesting the number of people that are coming into coaching right now. A lot of people have run scared, and they don't answer their phones, but we've got a tremendous number, and everyone that's coming into coaching right now has a great attitude. So the coaching clients that are coming in are like, hey, everyone else is scared. I'm gonna lean into my business and grow during this time. So I encourage you all to get a coach, whether it's Workman or not. Just find someone that can help you. Any final thoughts, Lee, and then Brooke, and we'll wrap.
I think that business grows naturally. I didn't come out saying, hey, I want to have 25 people or 23 people on my team or whatever it may be. But I think as you grow naturally, you end up plugging holes and you're finding those right people. And some people come to you and you're not quite ready. You make a spot for them if you find talented people. I mean, I've done that with several assistants that I wasn't ready to hire somebody, but I was like, all right, you're going to help me grow. So I'm going to invest in you and you're going to help grow the business. So look for those people. They pop up in your life, but some people push them out, and you really should lean into them. So lean in, have a deeper conversation. How can they help? And then just do some thinking of, I think we all get so busy and we run the rat race that we don't slow down and think. And if you listen to like a lot of these book titles, a lot of them are like Think and Grow Rich, think this, think that, as a man thinketh. So take time and think of really what you want. And I think that the strategic plan is one of the best things out there to really know where you want to go and think about where is it that you want to be in 5 years from now.
Thank you. Great thoughts. Brooke, wrap it up for us.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, I think transparency is key. And so being transparent on where you want to get to, knowing where your team members want to get to, and ensuring that you all want to get to the same place and how you're going to do it together is instrumental in making that happen.
On behalf of all of us at Workman Success and all of our friends that joined the webinar today, thank you so much for being so willing to share and to give the real information, how you really run your businesses. We wish you continued success, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Bye.